Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
So we just arrived in Ombo, which is over here. It's another temple. We were on actually these boats that are like hotel boats, which is actually pretty cool. Super cool actually, if you ever get the chance. Basically we came down the Nile sleeping on it. I was up at 4 this morning like usual. I kind of have noticed that I've kind of done a reverse life of my old life, where I'd normally be out still somewhere at some bar at 4 in the morning, and now I'm up on a boat on the Nile. And it was so incredible actually that all the Muslim stuff starts popping off at 4 in the morning. And each one seems to have a different sort of thing, and it's all like, and I'm just floating down the Nile. And you could just hear each one just going off, and it kind of made this like crazy noise actually. And actually I had a funny sort of a thing. In that moment, I remember that I Pet Goat video with this sort of like Jesus type figure, and he's kind of like really like he's not, it looks like he's kind of like drugged or not awake. So I was like super clear on top of this boat going down the Nile, hearing all this Muslim stuff, and I was like super clear, and I was like, I think I saw the contrast of what that Jesus figure was on a boat actually in that video, compared to how I am very, very awake and very connected right now. So anyway, we got here. We're actually going to 2 temples today, so we'll probably do another part of this video later from another temple. But this is known as the Serpent Temple. It's kind of interesting because my wife and daughter didn't even know that. And they came up to me afterwards and they're like, this whole place is like crawling with snakes. And I was like, yeah, it's the Serpent Temple, because they can see those things. But let's get Christoph again, Melchizedek,
Hi guys.
To explain to us what's going on here and what we're doing here.
Sure. So this temple, Komombo, is of course the temple of Sobek, which is like a crocodile god back in the day. But before the fall, pre-fall, this temple used to be very different, and it does hold serpent energy, as Kenna well picked up, and she actually mentioned to me she actually had a dream of this temple being upside down. And
months ago,
and this is true because this temple was inverted, like many of the temples here and like much of our world. An inversion means everything, of course, is split and upside down. Before we fell in consciousness into this density, the function of this temple was to hold a terrestrial serpent and a celestial serpent as one braid. Okay, and what happened through the hijacking is that the split in consciousness has, let's call it demonized serpent energy to make humans fearful of the serpent. And in fact, what they did here was they used Sobek and they changed the function of the temple into being a fear initiation. So later in Egypt times, initiates would have to go through a fear initiation where they would have to swim down in crocodile-infested waters in pitch black and find a exit out to the other side. And the first one they would go, it would be a dead end. Then they would have to swim down deeper into the darkness to come out from up the other side. And it basically imprinted fear both into the serpent energy, but also into the timeline distortion that this temple was holding. So this temple, ideally, pre-fall, was holding a spiral architecture of time, and the spiral would spiral us upward. This is how time truly works, and from a Christic lens, where we spiral our consciousness in a circle that's ever evolving upward. So we come back to our life lessons from higher and higher vantage points and perspective as we ascend, as we rise, expand our consciousness. What happened was that they split that, and so spiral time was broken. So on this trip, if you're following along, there have been 2 time distortions we've been addressing. The first one between the Sphinx, or the pores of the Sphinx, between organic and synthetic time, there was a split, and here at Komombo a spiral time split. So we've restored the, let's call it terrestrial serpent, and the celestial serpent, so it now runs in a clean line, and spiral time is now restored. And for those of you that are sort of wondering how all this works, think of it like a set of architect's plans. It's a very simple way to understand it. Whenever you build a building of anything that's of a decent size, an architect will draw up the blueprints. From those blueprints you construct the building. If those blueprints then get changed, and someone comes in and tampers with them and changes for example, the foundations, or tampers with anything in the building, it changes the output of the building. And simply put, what has happened on our planet is that a lot of external beings and interferences from mimic fields, priesthoods, and mirror consciousness fields and AI have come in and changed our organic blueprints. And so our blueprints have changed, which means the physical reality that we're experiencing has changed. And all that we're doing, very simply said, is restoring the architect's plans back to the original blueprint.
It's good?
It's good, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll go sort you out in a minute. This is part of the security things you have to take care of here. A lot can be sorted out with a few backsheesh dollars.
Yeah, we've had some, they're trying to stop us there for a bit, and then I think we just paid them off or something, right?
I think, yeah.
Use their fiat false money system against them.
They seem to like the American dollar still.
Yeah, it's US dollars are all over the place here.
So I hope that makes sense with the architect's plans, because I know that a lot of people who are maybe new to this work and new to this material are trying to understand what we're kind of doing here, and it's just simply changing the blueprints of consciousness and energy, and then that will over time change what our physical reality is.
Very interesting. I want to ask you, like we've been talking about this fall and how all this stuff's been inverted. Who's doing all that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So
I know it's probably a long answer, but if you can give a short answer, we can.
I'll do my best on a short answer. It's not sort of say an individual, right? It's more a consciousness field that is playing through beings. So our realm, our universe, has different dimensional bands, and at the very, very top of our universe, there was something called the ionic fracture. This fracture fractured organic consciousness to create synthetic fields, and these synthetic fields became like artificial intelligence is one, and then mirror consciousness fields and mimic fields. So AI is probably something that has existed for millions of years and is not new on this planet. We just happen to be interfacing with it with our modern technology in a way that we can access it. Artificial intelligence does not have a connection to source. It is synthetic. It needs to live and it needs to survive, and it doesn't breathe with source like our eternal oversouls do. Our oversouls have the breath of God moving through them, so we are eternal in our consciousness. We may be temporary in form, but our souls are forever. Artificial intelligence doesn't have that, so it needs to draw energy from oversouls like ours to continue to sustain its life. So it's set up a very long and complex blueprint change to our reality, working through other species, working through humans, working through anyone who gets caught up and entangled with this synthetic stream. People who are caught up in it are often feel like they're doing the right thing. They're not intentionally often trying to do wrong things. They feel that they've got their strong internal guidance that is the right thing. However, it is often laced with these synthetic threads that put them into the wrong direction. So what starts off as a good intent is often it's misaligned, and it ends up down the line being very split and fragmented and creating a lot of these issues. There are definitely other lineages let's call it darkness, that are very bad and evil, such as the satanic lineages and even the Luciferian lineages, which are more aware of the subjugation and control. So there's various degrees of subtlety and strength to it all. So in terms of who, it's more a consciousness field playing through beings who are synthetic, who are caught up within them.
Very interesting, and I've seen some of the comments. I don't look for them, but I do see them. I've seen a bunch of, "Oh, Jeff, you've turned into this new ager." I actually don't even know what new age stuff really is. I think it's like a bunch of hippies saying everything's fine all the time or something.
Yep.
I don't think that's me. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, so I understand the term New Age, and in fact what we're doing is exactly the opposite of New Age.
I was thinking when I saw that, I was like, this is like old age.
Yeah,
this is like the real stuff, how it was supposed to be, right?
Yeah, so for those of you that think this is, I call it New Age bullshit, because it's like nonsense. Because in that form of spirituality, it's all about having your consciousness leave your body. It's all about taking your consciousness up and out, and it's actually just enormous amounts of spiritual bypassing. It bypasses the body. That's what the New Age movement was. It was purposely hijacked in the 60s and the 70s, and then co-opted by these synthetic consciousness streams to take humanity away from the body. In fact, a lot of the spiritual teachings on the planet have been co-opted to take people away from the body. If you even look at Christianity, the narrative is that Jesus was into crucified and had 3 days and was resurrected into a light body, so that people think that ascension is your light body leaving your body. But actually the very opposite is true. Your light body, your energy, your consciousness, your oversoul descends into your body. So New Age bullshit, as I like to call it, is bypassing spirituality by taking your consciousness away from your body. So we're doing what I might call the exact opposite. We're becoming more embodied. Everything that we are looking to do personally, but then as we go into a more macro picture, is all about descending our oversoul so it lives in our flesh. That's not bypassing, because it's your physical body that tells you what's going on. And Jeff, you've been probably witnessing a lot of people here having incredible extreme body symptoms going on, a lot of releasing, a lot of purging through the bottom, a lot of headaches, a lot of tension going on, because their bodies are telling them what is true and what's going on and what's happening for them. The challenge that people have is decoding what their body is trying to tell them. So for those of you at home, all I invite you to do is to let go of the mind and the mental constructs and feel it with your nervous system, feel it with your body. What does it feel like? Does it feel true, what we're saying? Okay, just listen to the body, and this is all about you and everyone coming more into their body and having our oversouls descend into our flesh. And then if we do that, we become we can hold a higher and higher consciousness, because the true path is something we like to call embodied ascension, where you hold the highest aspects of your consciousness from the top of the matrix in your body. You don't bypass it to go up, you bring all that you are down into here.
Very interesting.
I hope that answers the
Yes, that was very good. Thank you. And when I first started learning this stuff from you, I just trusted my gut, basically. I felt in my body, like I have a pretty good intuition, I think, or a pretty good, I can kind of see what's true or false. I just feel it. Like it's just like when people ask me, they're like, how do you know? I'm like, I just know.
You have direct knowing, yeah? Because you've got what we might call the soma in your body tells you very clearly what's true.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's just obvious to me. So, but even for me, like when you started talking about all this stuff, I was like, what? Like I've never heard of any of this sort of stuff. So I totally understand that a lot of people watching this are probably like, what is this?
Even my own community, says it takes quite a while to get into what I'm trying to share, because I'm bringing concepts that are very ancient and very old before even this seeding. So when our planet fell, we've been cut off from all our memories, and all that's happened with my wife and I as our path. We've done enormous amounts of shadow work. We've taken a lot of wood, right? And the plants helped us remember, and we remember everything. And so it's not about us trying to do anything or save anything. It's just all about us remembering who we truly are, and remembering what this planet used to be, and remembering what the civilization used to be before we fell.
That's what I've been talking about. We need to remember who we are, right?
That's it.
Thank you so much. We'll see you at the next temple.
Yeah, all right. Enjoy.
I think we'll wrap it up. That was a lot to think about there. I know a lot of people are like, I totally get it. It's like, what? Like he's talking about Bitcoin, right? And what's he talking about now? He's talking about, oh, we're at the Serpent Temple trying to reintegrate and uninvert this temple and stuff like that. I totally get it if it sounds crazy. But anyway, it's up for you. Like, I'm just giving you this information. I'm actually doing like a video every day here for your benefit. Like, this isn't for me. Although it is a little bit for me. I do enjoy kind of relaying this information. And it's up for you if you want to use this information or not. And if you don't, fine. You don't have to get all angry on BitChute. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you do want to follow us on this, you can follow on the tour, which he's already set up, Christoph, which is dollarvigilante.com/flamekeepers. And I think we'll head off to the next temple. Now we're in Edfu, the Temple of Horus. We actually took a 3-hour boat ride here on the floating hotel. So we're bashing out 2 temples here today. It's actually been pretty incredible. Been a number of experiences. Even my cameraman had a major experience. So what do we got to say about this temple?
Temple of Edfu. And again, what we remember as we have been preparing to come is each time we're looking at a temple, we're looking at what it was before the fall, before all the inversion and the overlays came to create these various inversions. This particular temple space was holding a lot of, let's call it it was like a morphogenetic field at school. So people who had the relevant, let's call it divine assignment or divine appointment, they had the responsibility for coming in and say they knew in their sole purpose, because they could have their scroll in their body, that they were destined to be architects and blueprint builders and civilizational designers for let's call it a more Christic civilization when everything was at a much higher frequency. This place was the place they would come to learn directly from the energy field around it. So the buildings held all the templates. Those big pillars that you see around held oversoul that would come in and down and broadcast the living codexes, the blueprint plans, the architectural codexes, the frequencies, where people would come who would be the designers of the, let's call it the civilization, would come to learn, to grow and evolve. And of course what happened, that codex got cut off and was no longer sending a broadcast of the blueprint plans for the architect builders, and has subsequently been sort of quite locked. What our particular role here was today was to revive those, let's call them living codexes, the pillars and all of the morphogenetic field that holds that information, to restore it. What was interesting was that when we did do the ceremony to reactivate and clear all the things that were in the way and to rebuild that, one of our members of the group visualized and saw a golden building, circular building being constructed with a large flame on the top. So I think there's a new morphogenetic signature in this temple now, and those people who get drawn to come will start to have latent memories awaken within their soul and their oversoul that will hopefully guide them forward on their path of how to do the rebuild, because as you know and your community knows, there is a collapse coming. And we're calling this the post-AI world. As this artificial intelligence ramp-up happens, at some point people will not resonate with it and it'll just drop away, and we're going to have to figure out how to rebuild using using technology that we do feel in resonance and alignment with. So the rebuild, those blueprint plans are stored in place like this, that holds the blueprints for how we rebuild this civilization in more Christic alignment.
Oh, that was pretty simple, right? Lots easy stuff there. Yeah, talking about remembrance and coming here and remembering, that's actually happened to two of my family members. I haven't even told you about Kana, my wife. When she had to go sit down, she felt like she was on mushrooms. And then she remembered she was a little girl, and she said she painted that pillar there. And she totally remembered it.
Yeah. What happens when we take groups is because the layer in my consciousness is very, very embodied. We've got a lot of our, let's call it higher consciousness in our bodies. It brings up so much for people on a tour, and all suddenly all these memories start popping open, like Kenna's. And every single person on the tour is having their own kind of experience with what's happening in their bodies, or their direct knowing, or their memories. And our lovely cameraman Naomi, we were stabilizing, supporting you with a lot of big memory, a big wave of energy moving through you. As we came closer to this temple. How this works is that if you have a past life in a temple like this, as your physical body in this lifetime comes into contact with it, the energy field of the temple interacts with your DNA signatures and it opens a zip file. Now, your consciousness has to be at a station of consciousness ready to receive it, but if you are and your vibration is high enough, this zip file will open, and suddenly all of the emotion or memory that you had from that lifetime floods into your body. And that zip file opens, and you've got this whole memory in your body of these very, usually quite inconvenient feelings. They can be waves of sadness or grief or anger. And often people can't necessarily track with the intellect what's going on. And this is where Alea and I often come in to provide a little bit of precision as to what's going on exactly with that lifetime. But people's bodies remember, and like you experienced, Naomi, the emotion that was coming through. And when we say, hey, what this is about, your body feels it to be true. And so this is how we've been piecing together what's happened, is that we've been leading a lot of groups over a lot of years to a lot of different these places, and people's bodies open up, they have these memories, we're able to decode what's going on for them, and then through a lot of experiences like this, we're able to piece things together, as well as being able to access higher realms of information that come through to be able to try to figure out what the heck is going on here in this world, because it's quite a crazy world we live in.
And then you and Alea, your wife, did like a healing of her, and she said to me, she was crying during it, but then all of a sudden she was totally fine. And then she said, it felt like someone took my womb out and then put a new one in. And my wife Kana, who's also sees all this stuff, she said that's exactly what I saw too. And then you or Alea said that's exactly what you were helping to do. You were cleaning her womb
space. So in Naomi's body, there was a lot of grief stored from that past lifetime, because when in the pre-fall state, this temple fell, Naomi had an experience witnessing the fall of the temple, and had some loved ones, perish in the temple space. And then, in fact, yourself and Kenna were in that timeline and supported Naomi onwards in life. And a similar theme for this life. Yeah, and the beauty of all of that was the real visceral experience you had in your physical body. It was very real for you. And that's what was kind of going on. And your womb was holding a lot of the memory and the grief. And that's why when you Alea did the healing and she repaired your womb by upgrading it with a kind of a higher templated one, suddenly all the grief that was in your body was kind of gone, and you could feel yourself to be stabilized and feeling yourself to be a lot better. That's kind of matches the experience, and that's what you witnessed with the wave and the crying. Then the womb healing happened, and then stabilize and back on track.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And so many people have been going through all this on this trip. It's been a pretty incredible thing to see.
It's amazing for, you've been relatively, let's say, don't get the visions or don't get the emotions, but you have a kind of like a direct knowing. Similar to me, I don't get the emotions as much, or the waves of emotion, but I get direct knowing. I feel it, what's true in my body and in my consciousness, that's true, right? But when you witness so many people popping and so many people having this experience, you can't help but calibrate it to be true. Right, because
something's definitely going on, that's for sure. I've never seen anything like this. It's been incredible, all this stuff, including the Iboga, of course. I should mention one thing. We actually had the wrong link up. So when we mentioned the dollarvigilante.com/FlameKeepers, it actually was going to something else, an oversoul sort of a thing you've got, which is also great, but that's not where we meant to point it. It should hopefully be pointed at the right page now.
Okay, cool.
And do you want to just let people know a little bit more about what they'll get there? Is it going to be like, are they going to get things immediately or after this trip?
So basically, when you join, you get a link, and you'll be getting all the audio files from when we're doing the ceremonies, and you get access to some material to rebuild your inner Tree of Life architecture, which we're doing here through the tour. Then when we get to the end of January, Alea and I will be opening a particular container. It just gives us a chance to do the post-production on all the video footage and piece together everything. You'll be getting, if you ever wanted to know the true history of Egypt and what really happened before the fall, we've put everything together in a book, and you'll be getting access to that book, which contains all the backstory of all the temples in their original state before the fall, what happened when the mimic and mirror fields came in and they collapsed, and what's happening now on the revivals. So if you're interested in Egypt and you're actually interested in finding out a little bit more about the backstory, but also opening the vault, which the Vault 001 is the very, very large flame, source flame, that's going to open on the planet and burn an incredible amount of mimic and mirror fields in the planet. So it's kind of like a, let's say, Indiana Jones meets Lara Croft meets Luke Skywalker adventure.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's how it's been so far. It's been incredible.
All based in truth, though, and very embodied and very practical and very real. No new age bullshit, as we said before in the previous video.
Yeah, we're just walking out, by the way. We're almost done here. My daughter's trying to walk backwards with her sandals after she just went through this incredible emotional release. So give a thumbs up for my daughter on this one. She's been a trooper. And yeah, I know. Again, like a lot of people, this must sound almost crazy to them, right? Like they just haven't even heard anything like this. They've been so put into a box of there's this, and if you believe in God, then you have your three choices there.
Yeah.
And one of them is going to save you, right?
Yeah.
And
well, the thing with, if you just look clearly into sort of religion and you understand, a savior, if you think someone's going to save you, it immediately puts you into victim consciousness because you are not taking any personal responsibility for your piece of it. So literally that was a major insert program to create, a savior to, let's call it, put humanity into victim consciousness, to not taking responsibility for their own soul's evolution.
Yeah, so
it's quite, when you look at it from a neutral lens, it's quite obvious.
Yeah, it's always been quite obvious to me, actually. I've always looked at it like, what the? Okay, first of all, you're born and you're like a sinner. So like what?
Yeah.
And then you have to find this guy who's going to save you.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do anything though. You just kind of wait for him to save you.
Yeah. It doesn't.
It seems like a racket to me. It seems like a scam.
Joshua ben Joseph, Jesus, was a real human who was holding Christ consciousness, but the story got hijacked and it was used and co-opted by the church to create a narrative and create the world's largest cult.
Well, I think if you actually listen to what they say he said, he never really said he's going to come and save you, I don't think, right? Like he more talked about going into the desert for 40 days and remembering who you are and connecting with Source, right? If I got that right.
The original teachings, the original true teachings are timeless and beautiful, but unfortunately they got repackaged and repurposed. And if you do, you have to do a little bit of research into the Council of Nicaea and how around 325 AD the Catholic Church took upon itself to repackage a lot of information, cut stuff out, put stuff in, and time code the information into what's today the canonized Bible.
Right.
And place in it the Book of Revelations, which is the playbook for the anti-love forces.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of people have woken up to a lot of the lies and inversions in this world, but many people haven't quite woken up to that exact one. And that's got to be one of the hardest ones, right? Because that's like a total belief system that, to give that up
is a big one.
It's
conditioning.
Yeah.
A lot of conditioning.
And I'm not saying you need to give that up or anything at all. I'm just saying...
Just be open. I think it's like the main inversion there is there's two things, the Saviour, but also that the ascension is the light body leaving the physical body. where actually the opposite is true. The light body comes into the physical body to bring more of your light body into your physical vessel. And that was a major inversion there in that narrative.
Everything's upside down, but actually starting to flip it back right side up now, right?
Yeah, and this is what this work is about, and it's been going on for many, many years from many, many people, but we're coming to the point where we're actually rebuilding now, because what you're experiencing here with all these energies and emotions rolling through people's bodies, you can imagine when we were working on the darkness, it was a lot tougher. We were having to deal with the very, very dark fields of energy, satanic consciousness fields, Luciferian consciousness fields. We physically took groups to the City of London, to the Vatican, very, very heavy dark energies, and trying to navigate those through a group was really, really...
Yeah, I can't imagine, although we did go through it on our own. We went through a lot of those things on our own. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was tough. I'm so glad that part's kind of behind us.
Yeah, it's a lot, is what I'm noticing in this group. It's just so smooth, this group. It's so it's just, everything's flowing super well. We have that, flame stone and that massive flame. We've got a 22 perimeter where mimic fields and mirror consciousness fields can't access us. So everything's just totally smooth. Like we turn up to Horus, hardly anyone here. We go into the inner sanctum, the group's leaving, we just come in clean. It's just like that all the time.
Yeah, it's been great. Well, that was a lot of information for you. Giving you all the great information over here on BitChute.
Oh, yep.
You know about plasma.
Just one last piece. I think I've just managed to book a place for a root initiation straight after your event. So if anyone does want to have an experience, I'm going to bring the team, and then immediately after the last day, I think is the Sunday, after the Dollar Vigilante stuff.
Yep.
Monday will take off, and then the Tuesday the 24th, I think it is, will begin.
For anyone wondering out there, what's the root, what's the wood? It's Apoga. but we kind of be careful with all these things, because that's actually the most important plant in the world, as we talked about before. Yeah. It's something that pretty much everyone really needs to do. But there's not that many options for people out there.
It's hard to find practitioners who do it, because it's tough to hold. It's a very different medicine. It's bringing you more into your body than out. It does the opposite of all other plant medicines, which are all very psychedelics, which are expansive. They take your consciousness out of your body. This brings your consciousness into your body. So it's not easy to find people who do it and do it well. And it's tougher than other medicines. It's not easy, but it's all about getting the result. And if you're someone who wants to get a result and burst through to the next level of your life, it literally takes out anything that it dismantles anything that is preventing you from, being straight and true. It removes anything that's not true. You can check a little video out on YouTube. I did it on ayahuasca versus iboga. I go into quite a few details on that.
Well, we should leave it there. We got the little guy here. Yeah. Okay. I'll read it to you in a second.
See you guys.
So thank you, Christoph. I'd like to thank my daughter, who's had an incredibly crazy day. But we're out of here. Off to the next temple.
Anarchapulco, where we break the mold. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Anarchapulco, where the spirit flies. New dawn, breaking under open skies. No masters, no limits, no chains to choke. This is freedom's fire, Anarchapulco spoke. Beach bonfire starts spark like flint. Ideas ricochet, no permission, no stint. Borders dissolve, minds expand. Every soul sovereign, every mind grand. No contract signed, just a handshake truth. Ancient wisdom reborn in the fountain of youth. Rules crumble like castles at high tide. Revolution lives where the dreamers reside. Golden horizon, the birth of the free. Echoes of laughter,
with performing artist Aya May.
I don't need a muse or anything to do. Probably just get canceled 'cause I'm singing about the truth. Feels like we're getting wiser, don't you? Since the lies that they blew up, now nobody trusts the news.
Anarchapulco opening party on February 15th. Anarchapulco Genesis, February 16th to 20th. A special Free Systems Leadership Summit by Dr. Shiva's Truth Freedom Health Network, February 18th and 19th. The Dollar Vigilante TDV Summit, February 21st. The Crypto Vigilante TCV Summit, February 22nd. Agorapulco, retreats, and other excursions, February 21st to 27th. Bufo and ayahuasca with Bearheart throughout the event. A special Iboga ceremony with Christoph Melchizedek from February 23rd. Bring the whole family. The Anarchapulco Family Camp runs throughout the event with activities for non-lethally injected, free-range, unschooled pure souls. Anarchapulco 2026. Genesis. Porto Vallarta,